Hello, Jackal! In this video, I'll mostly go over one tool. It's not ChatGPT, but I did use it for some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It was okay, but the project ended up in the prototype stages, which is what this is. It works decently for representing the prototype, but that's basically it. I also have a scanning option.
Scanning user fingerprint.
It takes 12 seconds.
Synthesizing profile image.
Just a moment.
New profile successfully indexed. User identity log recorded.
And that's it. Basically, it makes a new profile, quote unquote. It just took one image randomly from the 20 that I had. Then everything else is random and some lorem ipsum text for the bio. And that was it. And the save and delete buttons did the exactly same thing. So just closing this window. For a prototype, this was okay. I had all of the functionality that I wanted. So the scanning line moving up and down, the scanning function, which you just saw, the profiles cycling every 10 seconds, and then also, well, you could take a look at the user profile. But that was it. So this is where ChatGPT got me, and mind you, this was done all on the free accounts. You don't need anything paid. Next is Gemini. Now you can have it for coding, getting some ideas, and you can also take a look at all of the gems. So you can also have a language editor and a professional advisor. And when it comes to the Gemini, at least in this space, I did not find a way to change the language to English. And it can also be a teaching advisor. So that's all good, but it did not do a good job, at least not with the project that I had. So this was the Gemini version. Let's take a look. So as you can see, it removed the fingerprint and the scanning line. The images are hoverable, though we did change most of the user interface, so not white color. It has some strange selector, though I guess this is something that I added, so it can be selected with the keyboard. And when I click on the profile, this is basically it. So it took the ChatGPT code and somehow made it worse. So I just said no thank you, not interested. And this is where Google's AI Studio comes in play. So this is the final version, at least at the moment. It does exactly what I want and a lot more. This was version 17. So let me just show you the last one. I have made it so I have to input a secret combination of key presses, but sometimes it doesn't work immediately, and I guess that's okay, so the users won't be able to load the user profile. So I'm basically just loading all of the profiles that people have created, and this is something that is needed as a security measure, so you can just access files on the PC even though it's local. This is something that has to do with HTML, I believe, and JavaScript. So these are now all of the profiles. As you can see, I have the same functionality. The profiles are hoverable. They also change every 10 seconds. Now, at the moment, I am lacking images. I just have 20 of them. But once I have more images, this will look a lot nicer. Now, if I click on a profile, as you can see, I have made some changes. Well, not me specifically. It was the AI Studio that has done this. I just mentioned that I want some cards with name and images under the known contacts, and this is what it gave me. It actually recommended that I have some placeholders instead if the user does not have all of the contacts filled in, and this is all done randomly. And if I select a profile, I can then again see what this user profile is doing or has done. And I can close the current profile, close all of the profiles that I have opened, or I can even delete it. So I have a combination. In this case, I would use left and right. So select the characters, I can add a character. So all of this would be done with buttons. So this would be physical buttons, and this would be a hard drive platter that you can spin to the left or to the right. But currently I'm doing this with the keyboard and the mouse. So I can add the letter, delete it, and then when you enter the code, you get this: access denied, manual override not authorized. Currently, the code is not doing everything just yet. It also will have to call some audio clips so that the user gets some funny feedback, but you can then brute force and you have 3 attempts. And on the 3rd attempt, this window pops up. Currently, I just have a simulate scan because I don't actually have this connected to the actual print scanner just yet, but the simulate scan button at the moment simply simulates if the user would actually scan the fingerprint. And then this pops up. This was also entirely done by the AI Studio. Also, the sound is missing in that step. And if I make a new user, this is how that looks like.
Scanning user fingerprint. Synthesizing profile image. New profile successfully indexed. User identity log recorded.
As you can see, it's mostly the same as with the deletion workflow. Though in here I can use some random letters. Also delete them. Click next. And now I can also select images. I can select random one or press right or left to select it.
New profile successfully indexed.
And the user profile is then put here. And if I click on it, as you can see, the known contacts are also randomly filled in. And this is what has been done by taking the base code from the ChatGPT. Now I do still have some quirks to work out, but mostly this is it for the digital part of this project. Now back to the AI Studio and let me just show you the code. Everything is done in one file, so this is not ideal. The HTML, CSS and the JavaScript should be separate. I just stuck it into one file, and that is why it's 2400 lines big. But as you can see, the AI Studio can split the files into appropriate file structure. So I have the HTML, the index.tsx. This made a version in the beginning, but I did not like it as it did not work immediately out of the box. It also has some JSON files. It made another JSON files for profiles. So this is how the profiles, or at least the images, have to be populated. So that is something that I will have to change. And it also made its own placeholder contact SVG. Now I did not make the SVG, I just used the one that I had available. But in any case, what can you do with AI Studio? So let's go with the chat icon. Native speech generation, this is actually very useful. You can have 2 speakers, something similar to, Notebook LM. But in this case, you can select from multiple voices. What I have used this though for is something like this. So let me take this section, it's in Polish. We'll hear how it actually does. Though I don't speak Polish, I'll just see if it actually does okay with some, let's say, technical terms. As you can see, I also do not have any way of inputting the language, so it will just know what language this is. As for the voice, the one that I have used and find kind of nice is, I think, this one, Enceladus. Now, depending on how long the text is, this may take some time.
Zgodnie z dyrektywą 98/34 WE, które wyrażają takie wymogi w kategoriach Zgodnie z dyrektywą 98/34 WE, które wyrażają takie wymogi w kategoriach technicznych i które pojedynczo lub w połączeniu z innymi.
So if someone in the channel is Polish, let me know if it actually said this correctly. I did use, what was it? The IP54. So it's basically a standard for dust and water protection. As far as I know, it butchered this one completely. Even if you used an space in between, it also did not work correctly. So in that case, what I actually had to use is IP and then have the 54 written as 54 with words, as you would say it. If I now use the same section, but just make it in English, same voice. Let's see how this is said in English.
Directive 98/34/EC, which shall express such requirements in technical terms, and which shall, alone or in conjunction with other.
So the English was spot on. I don't know about Polish, but as I said, you can basically input any language that you want, though don't quote me on that, there's a lot of languages. I just tested it with English, Slovenian, Polish, and Ukrainian. Now, if we go back to the chat, what do we have? We have live audio to audio dialogue, so you can also speak to it, I guess. So you can talk, webcam, share a screen. I have not used this function. Now you can explore and co-develop apps. So this is under the build. If you make any kind of apps, you will find them under your apps, as you can see. Now the one thing that I did try, shortly that is the MCP map basic. So everyone is now doing some kind of automation using MCP. This mostly depends on the niche, because if you have something that is like, I want to see fitnesses, restaurants, doctors, all of that is popular and a lot of them. But if you need something that's in a tiny niche, let's see what would be a tiny niche. So I think this is a very tiny niche. Let's see how it will do. And basically it shows you everything as you would expect. So if you click on this and view larger map, this is basically Google Maps. So what people then do is put most of the information in a spreadsheet automatically. So the address, the website, the telephone number, which is probably just the basic phone number for the company, not of a specific person inside the company. So maybe not as useful. And I think that's about it, at least for this location. So maybe you can also extract the rating if that is something that you would need. But it did find quite a few of results. I do think I have to zoom in to actually count them. So 14 specific shops for trading card games, which is quite a lot. And lastly, we have generate media. So the speech you have seen, you can also make images, video, and I have not used this one. When it comes to images, you can create up to 4 images at once, specify the ratio, but as you can see, it has limited free quota for testing. Otherwise, you need the Gemini API, but it does not mention how limited this actually is. But once you reach the limit, you can come back the next day to use it again. And let's see what it will output for its own promotion, basically. And this is all done live. I have not cut anything. So about 15 seconds for these 4 images. So large view, AI, not really studio. Maybe. Not real Google logo. I think it did decent, especially because I did not actually specify anything. But I imagine that 2.5D graphics like these ones are now popular since this is what it has done. Now you can also download or export to Drive. When it comes to videos and maybe even images, you do have to connect your Google Drive so that you can then also export to Drive if that is something that you want. Let's download maybe this image, go to generate media, go to VO, because yeah, I can add an image as a prompt, put this image in and describe the video. Since it's chaotic, let's see if the light streaks will move chaotically. And let's see how long this takes. As with the images, you can specify how many results, but you can set the duration. By default, it's set to 8 seconds. Maybe you want just 5 seconds, so make sure that you select the appropriate duration. As for the resolution, I think it's just 720p, but you can then use something else to upscale the videos. Does the image contain humans? So let's see. I guess this was a human. It's kind of an abstract image though, so let me see if it will take some other image. And I will just use the same prompt, see if it does anything. So we did something. Let's see what it has done. So yeah, we do have the light streaks going chaotically, maybe, but the camera is moving to the right, which I have not specified, so I think it's okay. And also I did not specify the aspect ratio, which is definitely different than the original. But I think this is an okay result. It kind of sucks that you can't upload images with people, even though the people are AI generated and especially don't look realistic. So let's see what it can make for this one. And I guess the maximum that you can make is 2 videos. So that is what I'll do. And set this to 5 seconds. And the prompt will be: people in Stone Age are building structures and mending their tools. So let's see what it gives me. So I have to revise the prompt. No children. So negative prompt, I guess, no children. And it will be funny if it will also say no humans. My prompt was blocked for safety reasons. Did they do any cutting of themselves? But I think this video is decent and usable, although the knife from the stone does not really look realistic. It would be more for a sci-fi movie, I would say. Now when it comes to image and video generation, the Google's AI Studio can be good, but it's severely limited, especially because no children, even though when I made the prompt I did not make any specification what has to be shown, so that may or may not be a downside. And also just one video showed up, because the second one was violating something, and that's something, well, I imagine it's because it's a weapon, so maybe that was it, who knows. So Google was cooking with the AI Studio. Now as far as I know, you should only use AI Studio for development purposes, so if you have a company or sensitive information, do not input it or use it, because that will most likely be used to improve the AI Studio. Now one thing that I have to mention is when making your apps, I did want to make a simple one with Unity. It did not give me anything, so it is purposely built to assist you with making web applications, but it can give you a general guide on how to do things in other languages. When it comes to website though, you can also use something like DeepSight. I did use it and tried to making the same project, but I think this too was no good, so I just left it as is. And you have a lot more tools at your disposal. The downside is, at least in my opinion, is that you actually have to use them to get to see what they are capable of. And a lot of tools means a lot of time testing, and that means that your time could be spent better doing something else, and if you know how to say code an app like this one, this could maybe take you a lot less time than it took me to actually make it using AI. Which, if we take a look, we can see that it took me, so just the AI Studio took me 3 days to use. But as I said, it was a lot quicker for me to do this than actually program it myself. In case you found this video helpful, let me know in the comments down below, especially if you would like to see more content like this. In that case, subscribe to the channel. I'm Simon, and until next time, Jackal, keep it digital.